Hi, my name's Mark. I've been working on ReviewBoard this winter, and the most recent task that I've been working on is adding OAuth support to ReviewBoard. I've locked down the dashboard so that it requires OAuth authentication, and I will be using this OAuth client that I've written. It's just a simple HTML page with some JavaScript to authenticate with ReviewBoard. So in ReviewBoard, there's a consumer application which corresponds to that, and it has a key and a secret. And those are normally more secure than test and secret backwards, but I just figured that would be easier for this. It has a redirect URI, which is where the user will be redirected to, as well as a name and a description and whatnot. This page needs to be moved out somewhere else so that all users can access it instead of just administrators, because currently if you're not an administrator you would not be able to add an application to use OAuth. So to use this client, the first step is to authorize with ReviewBoard, and this step is simply saying that this is the application that wants access to ReviewBoard, and that's the application that I think I'm authorizing, and that's the one that I want to authorize, so I will authorize that. So this gives the OAuth client an authorization code, which it can use to obtain an access token and a refresh token, which it will use for actually accessing the protected resources. This step here is normally conducted in the background, but since this client is very simple, I need to do it by hand. So I will essentially just post these details securely, hopefully, and it will give me an access token and a refresh token, which I can then add to my client. And I can now use these codes to go to the dashboard. And there we go, we've successfully authenticated with OAuth. Currently, this is implemented in ReviewBoard entirely. The idea is that it's going to be authenticating the web API, which actually has its authentication handled by giblets. So this is going to need to get moved out into giblets at some point. It still needs a little bit of polish as well for when you're actually authorizing, as it won't ask you to log in. If you're not logged in, it'll just complain. But the first task that I'd worked on in ReviewBoard was adding this to me column. And this column essentially just tells you whether a review request is directed at you directly, such as this one, which is assigned to me, whereas these two here are assigned to my group and not assigned to me. Another task I had worked on is adding support for these reply reviews, the banner here, to float, because some reviews get really long, such as this one, and if the banner doesn't float, then it kind of gets lost on the web page. And it does support having multiple banners on the same page, just like that. So finally, I had also worked on updating the Git diffs. Previously, ReviewBoard would remove these headers here that Git actually needs to apply the diff to a Git repository. So I updated the Git parser so that it actually supports that, and now patches can be applied, and that should be going out in the next version of ReviewBoard. Anyway, that's what I've been working on, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.